Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast. Welcome to episode 34 of the American Fitbaw Cast. It is the Steve Meister here. He's baked us and it's 7 o'clock.
I'm just going to leave you to mess it up.
Yeah, I think it's the awkward silence waiting and figuring out, right, how long am I meant to talk before I'm meant to speak to anybody else? Or am I going to change it and just go straight in with, hey, anyway, how's everyone going?
Everybody?
Well, everybody, yeah. There's only one other voice here at the minute, though, is there?
Yeah.
We are missing somebody.
A man down today.
Man down! Through his amazing organisation skills of not realising we were recording until this morning and going, or was it last night?
Last night,
yeah, I'm not in tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thanks. But hey, it's been a couple of weeks since you last heard from us. We were very much in the off-season, as is the NFL world. It has actually been quiet-ish, I think, news-wise. Not a huge amount's been going on, which is quite nice.
Yeah, there's been the odd pickup of free agents who've been cut by their teams, because obviously they can be signed up at the moment.
Your Cardinals seem to be just signing everybody.
Well, they need to.
Yeah, it's a full roster turnover by Kingsbury and Keim and whatever. Because you picked up Charles Clay just a few years ago.
Yeah, I think that's
quite a good
reasonable
move.
pickup. Yeah.
Who's your Ricky Seals-Jones?
There's he's second.
Jermaine Gresham, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that he's potentially going to be getting cut or shipped or whatever, whether it's cap casualty or whether it's just
possibly
moving on from, you don't know. But Clay's probably quite a decent backup to have, because he did pretty good in Miami, and then he did okay in Buffalo. Not so great last year, but I don't think that was so much his fault. I think there's too much other stuff going on, and I think that was more a salary cut for Buffalo, because they would have got him in on a decent contract, and it would be one of those ones that probably escalates through a couple of years, and he was probably due to a really bad year coming up.
Looking on social media yesterday, reaction to that, not great actually. But no, I think it's an okay.
It's not the worst. I mean, there's still no guarantee he even makes the squad, eh? That's the funny thing with this. Everyone's like, oh, I can't believe you signed X, Y, Z, but some of these people might end up.
Yeah, it's bring them in to have a look, and you ship them off again, and they go elsewhere.
Yeah,
possibly.
It gets to August, and they're just like, nah, actually, Seals-Jones and the rookie we picked up in the 6th round is an absolute stormer that we didn't expect, and all of a sudden you're set. Yeah, that will happen from time to time.
Interesting. I think they'll need, from what I've heard about Kingsbury, he'll use his tight ends in the passing game.
So you want Travis Kelce type tight ends, or do you want like a sort of a return back to what I would call a more traditional tight end, whereas they're almost like fancy offensive linemen and they help
I think he's more he's looking for more the Kelce type, athletic, someone who is actually going to be a threat.
So 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers, and you've got a ridiculous effectively 4 wide receiver set going out all the time.
Yeah.
Causing some pretty havoc.
Yeah, and well, I mean, Larry Fitz does a lot of blocking in the middle when he isn't the receiver, which is fun to watch.
What a guy. The fact you got him back for this year is just outstanding. I was sure he was hanging up his cleats. I thought he was finished last year, plus the fact it was so disappointing for him, and it felt like he was coming back for one last go at it last year, and it went so bad.
Yeah, but it could be the I can't go out on that.
Yeah, I want to go out on a decent season. Yeah, decent season for the team, let alone, because he's Cardinals through and through.
Yeah, and he's all about the team. He doesn't really care about his own records. It's all about the team for him.
So,
You got distracted by some technical issues there.
Yeah, it was good. My stupid computer was going to say it's going to restart again. Not like that one time it did actually do it, and I was like, "Oh my god, what's happened?" Because I wasn't paying attention to the computer. Got away with that one. I don't even know what episode that was. It was early days. 12,
it was
some 12, 14 or something like that. A long while ago. So we're into year 2 now. Have we not?
Not quite. I think our first episode was released the 11th of March.
What was it? As late
So
as
I
that?
think our next one will be our anniversary edition, and what a treat we've got.
Are you just going to leave it tantalising?
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
I'm not putting names out there until it's done.
No, yeah. And if we pull this one off, that is a name and a half.
Yes,
We've gone for a big fish. So that's certainly something you're going to get this year coming up. We had a wee bit of a brainstorm a few days ago, trying to think about what we might change going into year 2. Very much the swear box is going to be getting put in front of Gav going forward in a really thinly veiled attempt to clean up the podcast a bit. I think I've got better over the last few weeks, but
you just keep thinking that, mate.
I know. You keep pointing out, you said this and that, and I was like, what? Did I? It's almost like it comes out of my vocab without even realising.
But yeah, we've got a couple of interesting
some
things lined up over the next few weeks.
Yeah,
so that'll be fun.
We're going to get some guests in this year. We're definitely going to get... we're going to do our football draft again. The old top 33, where we actually did a little bit better last year than what I thought. When we looked at it in retrospect. So I think we got... What did we get? Quentin Nelson to the Colts, and we got Sonny Michel to the Patriots for definite.
So we got 2.
Hey, you show me someone else that gets a mock draft right. That's actually what happens. You can't. It's so difficult because you can't account for teams moving up and down the draft board. That's the
thinking back to it, there wasn't many first round picks made bigger impact in their first year than those 2.
Probably not.
Baker Mayfield and
you
Saquon.
could argue yes, but then they were picks 1 and 2, and you'd expect that kind of return from that. It wasn't the pre-draft buzz last year though that on paper Quentin Nelson was the best pick to get, and if you were drafting without any reason of need or position or whatever, he probably deserved to be first off the board, and kind of proved it really, to be honest, with what he did. But it's difficult to quantify, how much more is Saquon worth than Quentin Nelson. But, But you know what I mean. Anyway, So, which leads us into
free agency.
Free agency this year coming up. That draft really doesn't lead us into free agency at all.
It doesn't, but it will.
Trust me, you mess things up. Never mind. So, free agency is hitting on 13th of March. So, where are we at? A couple of weeks from now. What we got? It's a draft. No, Combine's next weekend, isn't it? Only a week away.
I have no idea. No, it's not late March.
No. It's always end of February, but I've got a funny feeling actually it's delayed by a week. Normally it would be this weekend, but I think it's delayed by a week to next weekend, where we'll get our first look at the new crop coming out, which teams will use to shape their rosters. But before that, obviously we've got free agency, which is it's going to be very interesting this year.
Yeah, it starts on Tuesday.
Yes. Yes.
Through to Monday the 4th of March. So yeah, next weekend.
So yeah, free agency then. We've got so last year it was all about the quarterbacks. There was a massive quarterback carousel that had to get sorted out.
Yep.
And that dominated things for the weeks leading up to free agency starting, and when it kicked off, the dominoes falling, who was going where, and it all
it was all the case last year of who is going to snag Kirk Cousins, then everything else will fall into place afterwards.
Yep. Then you had the likes of the Broncos that jumped in early and took Keenum before Cousins had even signed, because they're like, he's my guy, going to take him for 2 years.
Yep.
And then 12 months later they're going to get rid of him.
And they've jumped in early and traded for
and they got
Flacco. And
yes.
That'll go the same way.
You almost wonder. The one good thing is he has a hell of an arm on him, and he's throwing it in the mile high, so as in less atmospheric pressure, so he can ball it as long as he's got people to throw it to. Get a couple of speedsters up there that can catch a long ball. Deshaun Jackson, fire him up there. Imagine that pairing. That could be.
Yeah, ludicrous. I mean, there is I suppose what counters playing at altitude is the speedsters aren't quite as quick up there.
They get gassed faster.
Well, there's less oxygen in the air, which is why you can throw it further, and so pros and cons of that.
The kickers do better as well.
Yeah.
This year, quarterback wise, isn't as juicy as it was, because there's really only one or two that are in the mix, you would say, for a decent.
So the two big talking points in terms of free agency are going to be Teddy Bridgewater and Nick Foles.
Yeah. I think they two are going to sort themselves out, and there's a smaller crop behind that of they'll either be vying for backup jobs, or I don't even got them on the top 50 list here. So
they're not.
You think Keenum will probably end up somewhere. You know that the Redskins are going to have to do something because we've got the Alex Smith problem that we talked about last time.
Yeah.
What happens to Blake Bortles in Jacksonville? Coughlin did come out a couple of days ago and say he's our quarterback, but put in the dreaded right now on the end of that statement. So he's technically correct, because he's like, yes, he is the top ranked quarterback on our squad as it stands as I'm speaking to you, but that's very much the death knell of as soon as I get rid of him though. I think he's obviously gone. You don't know what's going to happen to him. Is he going to settle for a backup job? Is he just going to take his money and go, right, done with the NFL, I'm not going to play anymore? But who knows what's going to happen with him? It's a weird one. Is any team going to get Cap back in the mix following his
that was what I was
settlement
just
problem?
About to say. Well, that's all. Yeah, the settlement's all done. So
it's all done. So teams will not be as frightened off, because I almost think there was an underlying collusion, because it was a thing about collusion. They were a bit like, well, what are we going to do with him? Are we going to sign him or not? Or does that cause havoc? And I wouldn't be surprised if all the lawyers were saying, look, didn't touch him until this is sorted. Once this is sorted, then fine.
Yeah.
But then that kind of backs up the whole collusion thing. I don't get it. It was so, and it's all sealed and it's going to be closed. It's one of these closed door settlements that we're never going to hear about, which is what I called 3 months ago anyway. Cap was going to basically win, but you're not going to hear he's going to win, because he's going to get a load of money. I think the rumours are 60 to 80 million on the NFL.
Insane money.
Like, not bad, like.
Yeah.
Eric Reid got a settlement as well, and
yes.
that's really interesting, because he actually got signed.
Yes.
Last year, and the Panthers have re-upped him for another 3 years as well. But he's still.
I think that's where Cap ends up as well.
You think he's what a thought! I never even thought about that until you said that.
Because if the stories are true regarding Cam's shoulder, you put him in there on a year. He's, from what I understand now, obviously I'm relatively new to watching the NFL. I've only been watching it for 3 seasons, so wasn't particularly paying attention in the last season before he started all this, and he hasn't played since, so I've not really seen much of him, but my understanding is he's a relatively similar type of quarterback to Cam.
So he doesn't quite have the size and the presence, but he definitely,
it's the same style of play.
He was a running quarterback. He was one of the earlier people to do it. To what we it's quite common now actually in the NFL. There's quite a lot of really mobile quarterbacks. Cap was very much an early one, and he did a playoff game. I think it was divisional game against the Packers, where he ran for something ludicrous like 250 yards in a game just himself. It was taking the mick, and Green Bay had no answer for him. He made an absolute mockery. It was quite something to watch, and that was the year that they got to the Super Bowl. We played the Ravens. God, that's 2012 now. Wow.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, that's my age creeping up on me. But I'm like, oh my god, how many years ago was that now? I think all these things happened like 2 years ago, and it doesn't. But I hadn't thought about that fit for him at the Panthers. Actually, I quite like that, because that does solve a problem that they're going to encounter. And the whole, what do they do with Cam Newton? Because he is the guy. If he has to take a break, do you just suck it up for a year on a team of so backups and hope you get something out of it, and take the hit, give the ball to McCaffrey 50 times a game, run him into the ground. There's no
potentially answer. Shoot yourself in the foot by doing that and you're just adding more and more wear and tear onto him.
It's a real tricky one, but that might be the answer.
Yeah,
it might be the answer for them. So Foles and Bridgewater then. So that's your big two kind of marquee players. Bridgewater less so.
Because he's had his injury problems, he hasn't had a starting gig for
a while. So he flashed a lot of good stuff in with the Vikings in his early career before his knee got completely ruined. And who was he pre-season? The Jets.
Jets pre-season, then traded to the Saints.
Yeah, so his pre-season was statistically very good. Was it not the best of the quarterbacks? I'm sure, as in certainly on the Jets roster. And he should.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah, it could have been.
He should have been starting the season for them, but they've seen enough out of Darnold that they thought, well, do you know what? We'll just go with him for year one, and we'll just what will be will be. And they were fine. They made that decision. They went for it, which kind of then put Bridgewater a bit on the back foot, because then you're like, okay, well, is pre-season a true test of how a quarterback is? Well, no, it's not. We know it's not, because you're not playing top tier week in, week out.
Yeah.
It gives you enough of a glimpse to know, certainly somebody like Bridgewater, who's coming back from rehab.
Look how scary good the Cardinals' defence looked in pre-season last year. Look how that turned out.
What was it like? You were winning the turnover battle every game by like +3 and 4. And
yes, it was ludicrous.
Really nonsense stuff. Yeah, the actual real season started, and then everything went horribly wrong.
Yep.
And you'll find that with a lot of teams. Teams will go like 4-0 in pre-season. Everyone gets really excited. By the time week 3 of the season rolls around, you're sitting at 0-3, and you're like, well, that pre-season was absolutely useless. Which is, I think, a lot of the reason why a lot of fans particularly don't like it. None of the games really sell out to any great depth. You understand why they have to do it for roster depth, but I don't really know what the deal is with that. Whether they're going to change it going forward. It always comes up the fact that the 4 games is too much. Actually, some teams play 5 because there's a Hall of Fame game, but your starters, you might play the first series if you're lucky, but more often than not, they even take that one off as well, and just backups.
Yeah.
So we've got Teddy that's going to be trying to get a shot at a starting gig. I think there was
Where do you think he goes?
There was a lot of rumblings that he could be Washington's fix.
Yeah,
because I think
that probably makes the most sense.
Before Flacco got traded, actually, Flacco I think was quite a good fit for that, because he's in the area anyway. It was quite an easy move. But the problem they probably had was what they're going to do with salaries.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to afford to pay Foles.
No. I say now. Clever accountants will always get around it somehow. You can always do something, but the sensible head on you, I think, says, well, if I'm going to eat Foles' contract and what he's going to want, because he's going to be getting mid-20s.
Yeah, I would say so.
Easy,
yeah,
I think is what he's going to get in the market based on what he's done so far. He's got the ring. That instantly gives you about $5 million a year more than your average Joe. And this is his one contract cash in, because he's 30, so he needs to hit his pay dirt now. Not that he really needs it, but you know what I mean.
He could even be up at the 28 kind of area.
Isn't that what Derek Carr's on as a benchmark? I know that he must be 26 to 28.
I have no idea,
because he'd set the benchmark before the likes of Rodgers and Ryan blasted through it,
and then Garoppolo.
Jimmy G, and so everything moved pretty quickly when people started re-upping. But I'm sure Carr was in there quite early, and he's certainly higher than 25 as an average. I think he's more the 27, 28 range. So even just using that as a simple benchmark, Foles is going to be like, yeah, I'm worth what he's worth. Easy.
Yeah.
And there will be a team that will pay him that. Easy peasy.
It's not like it was just the 2017 postseason. He proved it again when he came in at the end of this year. So someone's going to pay him that money.
Yeah, and the early money seems to be on Jacksonville, which is, I think, interesting, because whether they can actually afford it is the old.
Yeah, but as you said, they'll make it work
somehow. Yeah, well, getting rid of Bortles saves you a bit of that money. Milik Jackson's due about something like 13 million this year. Seems like quite an easy cut for them to do in order to save a lot of salary stuff. There has been the rumblings for the whole of last year they could get rid of Jalen Ramsey, which solves you don't have to re-up him, but he is still in his rookie deal, so you just suck it up for another year because you're paying him not much, and it's that balance of the value you get out of a person versus the contract they're worth, and trying to think without thinking ahead. They might just go, do you know what, we'll pay him his 600 grand he's going to get this year or whatever, next year he's going to get multiples of millions, but we'll take him on okay-ish money for now, and then just trade him away. It's a very interesting one. So Bridgewater to the Redskins is a potential. So that solves their 1 year issue. It gives him his what am I trying to say?
His money.
It
gives him his short window kind
of. Yeah. He gets a chance to audition. That's the word I'm looking for. He's got his 1 year audition actually playing first team, so you can properly see where is he compared to where he was 4 or 5 years ago. Is he back to where he was? Yeah, great. He's fine for the next 10 years. If he comes back and he's just not quite at that level, he's unfortunately destined for a career backup forevermore now, I think. So this is his 1 year.
Yes, definitely.
That he's going to get the shot to prove that he is worth a full-time starting gig again, and that he's ahead of Jameis Winston on the ranking. So that's the big two quarterbacks. Let's go on to what was always going to be the marquee signing this year. We talked about him every week of the season until we banned ourselves, and that is Lev Bell.
Yeah, so I put this out on Twitter the other day, and we had a little poll. Gave you the options of the two sensible ones, I suppose, in the Colts and the Chiefs. Have been the two favourites, particularly since the whole Hunt episode with the Chiefs. They would need a replacement, so they really came into it. There's always been a lot of chat about him wanting to be in Miami, so I put the Dolphins on there, and then just another option, and quite comfortably really 41% of the vote came back with the Indianapolis Colts, and it is a great fit, isn't it?
I love it. I love everything about it. If he's got a sensible head on him, and I don't think he does, that's the problem. He's going to try. So what he's said for the last year is he's doing it for business reasons. He wants his contract with the big money, and he didn't think the Steelers were ever going to give him it or re-up him to anything sensible. I think they had offered about $14.5 million as an average, but he was wanting more towards the very top teens. In terms of money. Now, having the 1 year out, interestingly, helps a lot of teams to be able to do that, because the salary cap, I think, has jumped so much in the last 2 years, effectively about 20 million a year. It's enough to absorb his contract. That he wants. So I can understand why he did it. Whether teams think that he's a problem because he does that, though, is the interesting bit of the equation that I don't know how you can account for that. So until they sit down and speak to him, and if they can speak to him and they get the feeling from him that, okay, yeah, he's 100% in on whatever team he signs for, and he's doing it for the right reasons, and okay, yes, it's a team player, and he's not going to cause me any havoc in the locker room, right, here's your 18 million a year or whatever for the next 4 or 5 years.
The thing is, we don't know exactly what the problems are there. We know that there's obviously a lot of friction has been between Bell, Brown, and Roethlisberger.
Is that not getting more juicy as the days go by?
And there's quite an implosion happening in Pittsburgh at the moment. Obviously, with Brown asking to be traded away as well. But in terms of Bell, I think with I just don't think you have those same issues when he's got Andrew Luck there, who just all round seems to be, obviously he's a great quarterback, but he seems to just be a good guy as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think the same issues would potentially present themselves there.
Yeah, I get the feeling it's a very happy, harmonious locker room.
Yes.
From Reich downwards. He seems to have come in with a lot more enthusiasm, and it's kind of a lot of people say that about Pete Carroll at Seattle, that he is one of the oldest coaches in the league, but he comes in like a kid.
Yeah.
He bounces around the locker room, the way he interacts with the players, and Frank Reich very much is in that mould as well. So he wouldn't have to worry about that element of it. He would be going into a team in a locker room that's all set. He does also then come in as the guy at his position as well. I don't think there's really any question. Marlon Mack will help split a couple of the carries at the backfield, but they have no gadget type player. So he will get all of that. All those plays will go to him as well. So he's going to get a good chunk of the ball. Their O-line is now way more solid than it was. Quentin Nelson getting fined on a weekly basis. and they've had a really good draft last year in particular. They have money to throw around because the amount of rookies they've absorbed in the last couple of years that they've got on these rookie deals.
Well, they've got the most cap space in the league.
Oh, they're the top. The Jets.
No, I'm sure it's the Colts. They've got the most cap space.
This is what we need Gav for. He would have all this at his fingertips. He loves talking about salary cap. Oh yeah, this team have that. This team have that. It's nearly off the top of his head. It's mental. But the Colts, they have hundreds. They have like 100 million or something crazy like that. They literally can go out and sign the top 5 off the board if they wanted.
Yes, it's ludicrous. So the Colts have got an effective cap space of 108 million. Next are the Jets with 97.
Okay. So they've nearly got 100 mil as well. So between the two of them,
and of the other teams suggested by those on Twitter, the Jets seem to be the most popular for getting Bell.
Now again, that's been rumbled for a good chunk of the last year as well, and it is because people knew that coming up they were going to have the ability to go out and get whoever you want. Plus the whole if he's got that persona as he likes the big lights, New York is a really good place to go from media exposure wise.
Yes.
Right in the heart of it.
Does the fact that Saquon is at the Giants have an effect on that from his viewpoint as a media? So is he either not going to get the same limelight in New York because of Saquon, or is he in fact, would they then play on that it's those two sort of playing off against each other for the adulation of New York?
I think it comes down to how much of a competitor he actually is. If he is, because I think anyone in their right mind would be like, right, I've got a chance to go up against Saquon, who is firmly in the running for top 5 in the league right away after his first year. And I go out there and I prove that I'm better than him in the biggest market. Because it is the biggest. LA is the second biggest in America, but New York is the biggest media market.
Yeah.
So you will go straight into the line, right into the limelight. You've got the difference is you've got how is the rest of the team around him. Okay, so the O-line isn't going to be as good in New York than say if he goes to the Colts.
Yep.
Which is going to limit his problems. He does have an element of rookie quarterbackism's problems, with Darnold being a little bit further behind than say where Luck is right now. Luck will easily get him the ball. No questions asked. Darnold might take him another year and a bit more progression to get up, to the next sort of level. So there's things outside of money that he needs to I think he needs to consider.
Yeah.
I think he needs to consider his fit and his position on that team as they're sitting just now and for the next couple of years. Because all fine and well thinking just for 2-3 seasons. He probably wants to be thinking 5 years minimum.
Yeah. What about Kansas City?
So that was so I wouldn't have had them anywhere near the equation until the Hunt situation.
Yeah.
So if you can make the numbers work, we'll not worry about that so much because
they've only got 26 million of cap room.
So they're all in on him and nobody else really, is there?
Essentially, yeah.
And when we start talking about safeties later, that's going to probably eat some of that money up.
I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
So they need to do something fancy to make it work. But you give him the option of going to Kansas City with a supremely offensive-minded coach, all the other pieces around you in the offense to make your job as easy as possible. So I don't know if there's any other team, maybe the Rams, where he could plug it, but he wouldn't because of Todd Gurley. But I'm trying to think, just a team in an offense that's set up in a certain way where you can drop in there and your job is really easy because everyone else is so good. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if there's another fit it is, if he wants to go and have the best chance of winning a ring and doesn't think about the money so much, you could argue that is the better move in the short term versus the Colts. I can see why, but that's if they get their defense fixed.
I think with either of those two offenses, whichever one actually snags Bell has the better chance of winning a ring soon.
So now here's the age-old question. We talked about this over the last couple of episodes, and it's always what everyone says: defense wins championships.
Yes,
always what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the two squads right now, what you're doing, he's actually more sensible going to Indianapolis.
Yes, I would agree.
Not only it's that stark a contrast on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, yeah, absolutely. You're going right. I'm going to the most offensively powered team that there probably is in the league in Kansas City, and I will score lots of points, and it's great. But you're walking in that situation knowing that defense is going to struggle to get the other team off the field.
Yeah,
and that's the only reason why your offense is so high powered is because you have to score 6 touchdowns a game just to be in with a shout.
Yeah.
So it's really tricky, but I mean it's fascinating to see where he's going to end up. He's officially 100%. He is going to be free. There's no question about the tag being used again. There has been rumblings for the last couple of weeks, but
yeah, well, they came out yesterday and said,
is it Kevin Colbert? That's the GM.
You could be right. His name. Yeah.
Came out and said, basically, we're not going to re-up them. They're not even going to use the transition tag.
Yeah.
So they have the option to match the deal. They're just letting them go. It's not a problem. They've crossed that bridge, fed up of it. They're not going to make it any more awkward than it needs to be. They tried over the last 12 months to make it work. He eventually just played the best game of chicken I've ever seen in a while and held out for the whole actual season. I was like, what? Because I was convinced he was coming back in week 10 no matter what, just to get that 1 year of eligibility. But when it then transpired that I actually didn't need it, that's when it swung back into the whole. So he's just like, I'll just take the year off. No problem. Crazy.
So, your prediction then, where does he end up?
Well, what was that really other random one?
Baltimore.
Oh, what a shout. That's cross-division rival. Well, yeah, cross-division rivals from where you've just been. You've got a running quarterback, so you can do the whole run-pass option nonsense. O-line's okay. Probably need a wee bit of help on wide receivers to eke that out, but the defense is pretty solid.
Yep.
It's not an awful shout. They've got money now. They've shifting Flacco on his contract. Without any dead money.
Cap wise, they've still got 20. They've only got 22.
Does that include the Flacco move? Do you think, or would that be over and above?
So.
Does it tell us when it's been last updated? Because if they've got 20 after the Flacco move, that's actually not as great as what I thought they were going to be.
It doesn't have a last updated, but this is overthecap.com that I'm using, which is the sort of go-to for cap
It's probably
space.
up to date.
So I would imagine it is up to date.
So they've got to eat all their free agents. Nah, they can't do it.
I don't think it's workable.
I don't think it's workable, but as a move. So where's he going to go? Well, actually, we'll take them back out of the equation. Where's he going to go? But let's go with he is going to He's going to the Colts. I'm going to throw it. I think.
Yeah, that's where I was going with as well, but I wanted us to be different, so I'll say he goes to the Chiefs.
We don't always have to be different on everything. Right, couple other players then. What are we at? 34 minutes.
Right, safeties. Safeties
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
So hitting...
Ludicrous year for safeties.
Yeah, so you've got Earl Thomas,
Yep.
Landon Collins.
He's going to be our holdout. He's not signing his franchise tag if he gets franchised and all sorts. He is this year's lead belt.
Yep. Haha Clinton Dix.
Yep.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Which Houston seem to be wanting to re-up, so I don't know if he's actually going to hit free agency or not.
Adrian Amos and LaMarcus Joyner as well. And that's the safeties in this top 50 list that I've taken from NFL Trade Rumours.
Yeah. So the first one on that, let's just start with the top then. So Earl Thomas, that's the interesting one because he wanted traded out last year.
Yep, and then he got injured.
So there was the whole, that opened up the debate again about,
should he have held out?
Yeah, should he have held out? Has he hurt his value by doing that? So the rumblings over the last couple of weeks seems to be
he held out pre-season, didn't he?
Held out pre-season, came back for week 1. He did the sensible thing, and he goes, well, I've made my point, but don't worry, you're not going to lose me for games because I am team first, and I'm you know what I mean. He did everything the right way, in my opinion. He held out at the season where it didn't matter that much, and I'm putting quotations up there for the people that can't see because of course you're listening and you're not watching me, which you won't want to do anyway. So, so where was I going? I'm just talking so much rubbish again.
So he held out the right way.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but he still returned back when it mattered for the proper games. And was it week 4?
I think so.
He got injured
Against the Cardinals.
It was Cardinals.
I'm sure it was.
Ouchie. And did that infamous walk off.
Again, you're putting your middle finger up at the moment, but they can't see that.
Does that count for the swear jar?
No, this is just a reporting of true facts. So he put his middle finger up to the Seahawks sideline
as he
was carted off on
so
injury
annoyed.
cap.
And rightly, he was so annoyed because he thought he had cost himself some major money this off-season. The early rumblings, though, it doesn't seem to be that. He seems to be that he will get the contract he wants. That probably does stem down to, it's a combination of teams that need that position, which is fine because he's hitting. Sometimes it ebbs and flows of free agency. It works quite well that you get that. You actually hit the market at the right time when there's lots of teams needing. So last year in the quarterback carousel, that actually was really good for all those quarterbacks that came out because lots of teams needed one. Whereas this year it's maybe not quite as much. You know what I mean? There's just ebbs and flows with how it happens. A lot of teams are going to be in the market for safeties. So Earl Thomas he can go wherever he wants. So early rumblings would obviously be that he goes to the Cowboys because that's kind of what he was pushing for last year. Where are they going to trade for him and bring him in anyway? And it helps them out. Kansas City's going to be in the hunt for every single safety going because
you would think
that's where that's
their huge need.
Yeah.
Their
front line was okay. They didn't have any huge issues, and the linebacking core wasn't awful. It was just the back end.
Yeah.
Berry was injured pretty much all season. He came back late November, I want to say.
Could be
maybe
right.
even into December. It was really late before he came back. But other than that, they were kind of depleted at the back end. So they're going to be in the conversation for everybody. Well, if they actually have any money, but they might get two people if they want to bring it up. Either that, or they're just going safety daft and cornerback daft in the draft.
Well, that's
just pad it out.
Possible, yeah.
Because you do have that backup option as well. If Plan 1 of free agency doesn't work, you've got your backup option in April. And actually, I like the fact that it's ordered that way around than the opposite. I think it would be far more interesting if it was the other way round, because you'd then have to decide are you going to put all your eggs in the basket on that kid that you've drafted, or are you going to take the proven vet that will be okay? At least this way around you can go, right, let's sort out the vet roster, right, who we got in, we're going to go with that, and then you go, right, what positions are now needed, plug through the draft, and then see how that takes you for the next year. So we've got Earl Thomas, Landon Collins. Is he going to stay in the Giants? Do you think they're going to solve that problem and re-up him?
Was he tagged last year? Is that right?
I want to say no.
Who was tagged? I read one of these safeties.
LaMarcus Joyner. He's been tagged a couple of seasons.
Right. Okay. So.
I think because Collins, he's the youngest on this board. He's only 25, so he must only be hitting his first year of free agency, surely. Otherwise, he would have been in the mix last year, and probably would have got paid.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, because I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. So I think you hit this sticky problem though, because he's now come out publicly and said, "I've cleared my locker. I don't need the stuff that's left there." It basically indicating he is now on holdout until they either pay him what he thinks he's worth, or release him so he can hit the market. So he's already pretty much come out and said, "Do not tag me," in the nicest possible way. And they have a couple of weeks. Tags are open. Nobody's been tagged yet though, haven't they?
Don't believe so. Not that I've seen.
And it's open till I want to say about 4th March, is it? It's always done and dusted before free agency.
Well, it has to be, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you let them sign for someone else, and then you go, "I wanted to use a tag on you."
What an idiot, House Rap. Jeez, some high quality journalism here as always. Wow, not paying attention today. Sorry. So it's about a week before or something.
It must
all
be
settled down. Yeah. But they've actually not got as big a window as what you realise when you get the proper dates. It's like you've got a couple of weeks. That's it.
Yeah, but they surely decided.
Yeah,
months ago.
You would think most people. Yeah. So you're the Giants head office. You're like, right, who's coming out this year? Okay, all right, we'll tag Collins. That solves that problem. And then this happens. What do you then do? Do you then sit and go stick your guns and go, well, tough toots, we're tagging you anyway because that was our decision was going to be, or do you cut your losses and go, he's actually going to be too much hassle, I can't be bothered with it, and you lose. You lose what is a very good piece in your defence on a defence that you're kind of struggling on.
Yeah.
So does that have to come into the equation as well? Is it worth the hassle because we need all the help we can in one position, or do you just go?
I think the first year
reset.
You have to tag them.
You pull rank. You go, no, we drafted you. We're keeping you.
Yeah.
You're our player, and then try and work it out. And then it depends if they play hardball and just you give up on them. It's rare players get tagged 2 years in the trot.
Yeah, because it costs so much.
Yeah, because of the multiplier in it. So it has to be at least 20% more than you paid them the year before. And whenever you tag them, it's always an average of the top 5 salaries anyway.
Yeah.
So as soon as you bang on 25%, you're probably the highest paid player at your position in year 2. And then it just gets even worse. Who was it that could have got tagged for a third year? It would have been something ludicrous like 30 odd million a year.
It would have been Bell, would it not?
Must have been his cap number. It was just like when you seen it in black and white, it was like, well, fine, no one's got anywhere near that.
Yeah.
It's pointless, utterly pointless. So whether he stays in New York over the next week and a half, I think it's going to be quite interesting, or does he hit the market and then he's going to cash in big time because he's the youngest one as well. I think that gives him a bit more wiggle room to possibly, and you have to play the game a little bit. You have to kind of wait for the dominoes to fall and then jump in at the end, and go, right, okay, he's signed for that. I'm worth more than that. Give me an extra $1 million a year. Boom, and then you sign. So that's probably an interesting one. Anyone else you want to talk about out of the safety lot?
Not really. What's actually interests me is the lack of quality wide receivers hitting free agency. There are not very many options there. Terrell Williams, you've got Golden Tate. I missed him.
Yeah, he's just.
Yeah, Golden Tate. Terrell Williams, Adam Humphries, Cole Beasley.
Yeah, ish. You got the second 50 there. You going?
I'm going into the second 50. Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
John Brown from Baltimore after his year there.
Yeah.
Devin Funchess.
It's not a very inspiring crop of names, is
and
it?
you're down to Pierre Garçon. I mean, yeah. So that was
yeah.
But there's a lot of teams probably need to upgrade there as well.
And I might be wrong in saying this, the draft's a little bit light on wide receivers as well.
I've not heard much about wide receivers in the draft.
Very defense heavy this year.
Very much so, yeah.
So you've got almost going back to what we were talking about earlier, you've got this kind of little special hot pot about, right, all the wide receivers that are coming out are proven. Maybe not super inspiring, first round, quality, multiple year, but you've got a lot of teams that need help at wide receiver, and you've got these vets coming out that actually can prove that they're at least decent squad players, if not.
It's great for them because they're going to get more than they're worth.
Bingo. Yes. Yeah. Now everyone generally always gets overpaid in free agency. It's not often you sign a player in free agency that actually, by the time their contract's finished, you're like, God, that was a bargain.
Yeah.
We got you. You're talking not even 5%. Everyone gets overpaid in free agency. It's the way it is. So what?
Yeah.
But
would you rather
yep.
take a punt on Golden Tate or take the first wide receiver off the board? I don't know who the first wide receiver off the board is, but just in general, I think wide receivers in the draft are so hit and miss.
Yes. So I've been doing a bit of digging about that, because this was going to be Gav's major topic this week, and then of course he didn't pitch up. So right, so first round success rate of wide receivers is 58%. So what I got some information from a website I can't remember, where they had what they had done is they'd ranked all the positions, and then they looked at what round kids were drafted in, and what they've done the percentage on based off they played for starters for at least half their career. That's the benchmark. So that gives you a kind of a good idea of someone's been consistently decent enough that they've been able to start for their teams. That's how they've determined whether it was a draft hit or not. Okay, so actually I quite like that as a proxy. Yeah. It's not too bad. That's quite sensible. So wide receivers. So this is over a 10-year period as well of drafts. I think it was 2005 to 2015 was the time frame. So last couple of years aren't included in it. So first round success rate is 58%. For wide receivers. So you're about a 50-50 shot. Second round is almost as good at 49%.
Right.
Which I thought was quite interesting. Third round then drops to 25%. You've got so you basically got 1 in 2 chance to get it right. Or you take Golden Tate, who you're going to get at least 2 decent seasons out of, I'd say.
Probably, yeah.
Yep. If he is your wide receiver 1 and you have no fallback options, teams are going to you can easily double team him and cause you massive problems. If you've got nobody else to throw the ball to, he's not that's really bad to say. He's not a Tyreek Hill that you have to double team, or a Nuck Hopkins, where if you give them any space, they're going to make a mockery out of you. Tate's not quite in the same banding.
He doesn't have the sticky hands that Hopkins has, because his hands are ludicrous.
0 drops last season, wasn't it? Yeah. Ludicrous. And some of the catches he made was just nonsense.
Yeah. But, some of the catches, if he hadn't hauled them in, probably wouldn't have been classed as a drop, because they were just
so far out the range. Yeah,
they weren't catchable.
Not catchable. Yeah. That was
not catchable to mere humans.
So you've got a 50-50 shot in the draft, but you've got a rookie who's going to be on a low contract, and if you get in the 50% that is going to be fine, you're laughing.
So more often than not, a first round wide receiver pick is good enough to start consistently, not necessarily start as wide receiver 1 though.
Yes, true. So there will be an element of this as you are the slot receiver, you are wide receiver 3. You do start on starter in inverted commas. You become wide receiver 2, and because this is over the first half of your career as well, or sorry, more than half of your years in the league that you're starting. It does eliminate that rookie rust that you're going to get in the wide receiver, because of all the position groups to transition from the college game into the senior game, quarterback and wide receiver are easily the worst, where you struggle the most.
Yeah.
All the rest of the positions have less of that problem because the way you play is similar-ish. Route running in college is nowhere near as advanced as you need to be when you hit NFL teams. So a lot of kids that will come out of the draft will struggle with that transition, and that's why you get these people like, say Kelvin Benjamin, who should have nailed it out of the park, but couldn't quite make it at the next level.
Just out of interest, the same applied to cornerbacks. So they're going from covering not very sophisticated routes to covering complex routes.
Now, yes. Okay, so now defensive backs are grouped in from this report overall, so it does include the safeties as well. But it is the most picked position as well in this 10 year that it did. So the combined number of cornerbacks and safeties was more than
so they've got a bigger data set
or whatever. So, so out of 510 that had been drafted, 121 of them became starters. The success rate, you get 64% in the first round. So it's better than wide receivers. So it's still 2/3 chance that you've got. So for every Denzel Ward, you're going to get a Justin Gilbert. So good old Cleveland Browns there. Do you even know Justin Gilbert?
No.
was that prior to you watching?
But it's not for every Denzel Ward. It's for every 2 Denzel Wards you get one of him.
Because it's 2-1, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, because that would be 50-50, yeah. 46% in the second round, and then it tails off a bit. Interestingly, rounds 4 and 7 are exactly the same at 11%. Your 1 out of 9 will start for half the career in 4th round, but also out of the 7th round.
Well, what it says is that every year you get an elite band which are taken up in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's all much of a muchness.
Yeah. And
I'm sure there are plenty of players out there who could have gone at the top of the 4th or the bottom of the 7th and it not really have made a huge difference.
I think the only one that, when I was scrolling through this, it did seem to matter a bit more was the offensive line. So that was the safest position. First round with an 83% success rate. That's pretty good. So that's 6 out of every 7, isn't it?
Yep.
So 6 out of every 7 offensive linemen drafted in round 1 will be a regular starter for your team for at least half their career. So that's a very safe pick. Second round is almost as good. It's still 70%.
Unless you're the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, what did you find?
Well, this was brought to my attention. It was retweeted by the British Bird Gang account, and I think it was since 1988 the Cardinals have picked 44 offensive linemen in the draft. Not a single one of them has made the Pro Bowl while on the Cardinals roster.
That's stinking, isn't it?
Yeah. They haven't been able to pick a Pro Bowl offensive lineman since the 80s. For longer than I've been alive.
What's a shame is that this thing I was looking at doesn't actually go any further than, well, you've started for half your career, actually, how many of them are Pro Bowlers or anything like that, which, because it'd be interesting to see out of those 83%, so out of those 6 or 7, how many ever make the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
Is it as high as still 1 or 2 make it, which is still a good return, because to get to the Pro Bowl is not easy. But for the for the Cars to have 44?
Yeah, it's wild.
Just awful return. Because this is 83% for the first round, 70% for second rounders, even third round picks. 40% of them are a starter for at least half their careers. That's all right. You're not complaining. It's crazy. So kind of got a bit all over the place today.
Yeah, I think the last topic we do have to discuss is Antonio Brown.
Well, yeah, so he's not even on this list because I suppose he's officially still under contract with the Steelers.
Yes.
But the Steelers he met with Art Rooney, and the Steelers have come out and said they're going to try and make a trade work.
Yeah.
Seems to only be mid-round draft pick is what they're saying for him, which I think is quite interesting.
Mid-round,
yeah. So originally, so I think the Steelers were maybe hoping to get a second out of him, but a lot of the rumblings when I was reading this is that they might only get a third or a fourth if they actually choose just to jettison him.
What's his contract situation?
Oh, I don't know. He's what, 30?
Yep.
So he's got a good few years left, but he's not got loads. It's not like he's only 26 or something like that. I'm trying to force a trade, in which case you're like, my God, he would be top of the pickings ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Who are we looking for again?
Antonio Brown.
Can't do two things at once, people. This is why I try and prep beforehand. And just
There are, so as we've just discussed, there are so many teams that need upgrades at wide receiver, and it's who can make it work. Could he join his buddy Le'Veon Bell
at the Colts
and both go to Indianapolis?
Oh, can you imagine it? And then you've got T.Y. Hilton on the other side.
Yeah, they've got a better quarterback than they've got in Pittsburgh. Come on, they do.
And a better defense.
At their peak, yeah, maybe not. Right now, Andrew Luck is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. No,
so.
sorry. That wasn't. That was just laughing at the situation, as in if the Colts pull that trade off and then get Lev Bell,
they've got the cap space and the draft capital to make that happen.
Yep. Wow. Look out AFC. That would be brutal. So what was a lot of the early rumblings was the 49ers maybe trying to pull the trigger and get him down there, and did he not post, or was it the 49ers that tweeted him and he was like, yeah, come and get me, and there was a little bit of back and forward to sort of add fuel to that fire as well. Or George Kittle, it was George Kittle, wasn't it? George Kittle was having a bit of back and forward.
Yes, there was, because all the all the responses to that were, yeah, you're going the other way.
Oh, how heartbreaking he would be. Let me see. I've got his page up, but it's got nothing really about his contract, which is really irritating. But I don't know. It's going to take me too long to figure
I think if they are looking for a mid-round, there's a lot of teams that will try and make that work.
Oh, easy. Now, this is I think we'll have to come back to this when Gav comes back, because it was his subject, really, what he was going to talk about, and it was the value of a draft pick versus a veteran. So the example he gave the other day when we were talking about this was, would you rather take Golden Tate or a third round draft pick, right? So we talked about that already. Actually, the return on a third round draft pick is barely a quarter. 1 out of 4 is going to be okay. You'd probably just take Tate for the couple of years and get some solid productivity. You flip that to a first rounder. I don't know if you're not really going to give up a first rounder for Golden Tate. Yeah, get me wrong.
Are you going to give up a first rounder for Antonio Brown?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting,
because he is top 2 in the league for me. It's him and Nuke.
Until this year, he was
the guy,
and he had been top of the rankings easily for 3-4 years.
Yep,
no questions asked. And then there was a half step back to then the next tier. So your Julio Joneses, AJ Greens, not Hopkins. Hopkins has just, the last 2 seasons of what Hopkins has done has elevated him past Brown.
Yep.
So Hopkins is the number 1 receiver in the league. I don't think there's really even an argument on that one.
I would agree.
Then it's Brown and Jones and whatever. So the two of them have almost just flipped.
Yeah, I think there's still a bit of a gap between Brown and the rest.
And the next, yeah?
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. Not much though. We're not talking
but I do still think he is clearly the second receiver in the league. So
if we go with that, he is the second best receiver in the league. Just boom. Do you take him for a couple of years because you're going to get that productivity for him? You're going to take him for a first round pick though? Whoa, I don't know. I think a lot of teams can't.
It depends where teams are in their process.
So the Cowboys sent a first rounder to Oakland for Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Now looking at what's happened so far, that seems to be an absolute no-brainer. They have totally won that.
He has age on his side.
That's the difference. That is the difference. He's got 5 years, 4 or 5 years on Brown, easy.
Yeah, so they could get 6-7 years out of him,
which then makes the first round pick worth it.
Yeah.
If you're only getting a couple of you're going to get 2 massive seasons, and then you might get 2 okay-ish seasons. To me, is Brown going to do the longevity of a career as like what Larry Fitz has done.
Yeah, that
I
was.
don't know.
Is he going to transition in the slot?
Yeah. Now, if he's happy to do that, and you know actually, well, all of a sudden you're now going to get 4 or 5 years out of him.
Yeah.
And even that last 3-4 years in the slot is still going to be really decent.
Yeah.
That improves then what you would give up. You know, it makes that second round far easier to swallow, no questions asked. That then potentially gets you in that argument of
a low first.
Yeah,
potentially.
Like, you're not giving up the first overall pick.
Yes,
your cards are not taking them for that. They would rather take the first overall pick. Or are you actually swithering on that now?
No, I would not take him for the
first. As an organisation,
would the Cards trade him for their second round pick? Potentially.
Would the Cards for the second? So the first pick in the second round is pick 33.
Yep.
Would rather have Antonio Brown. I would not hate that move. I think where you are as a
Christian
team
Kirk
and what you need
on one side, Antonio Brown on the other, Larry Fitz in the middle.
Yeah.
Oofed.
But no line to ever get the ball anywhere near. So
yeah, but they've still got all those other draft picks.
True. Yeah. I like it though. I like it. And actually, then so we've kind of we always do this with our conversations. Kind of come back full circle to the whole. Well, actually, the second round's worth it in what given situation. It's different for different teams.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets a bit funny. So, is he going to be traded?
Looks like
so. Yep. I think a team will come in for him. And will he do okay there? Yes, he will do okay.
I think it will be a team that we have never considered as being into trade him.
Like a Carolina Panthers or Green Bay.
Buffalo Bills.
The bit. Well, yeah. Whether he'd go there is a different problem. But
it's a trade. He's not got any say.
None at all. If
they just transfer his contract. It's not like he has to then agree terms with the new team.
Right enough,
they just trade it.
Oh wow, that's stinking, eh? Because obviously, if the Eagles are going to tag Foles, it will be a view to trade him, but they would work with him in order to facilitate a trade that Foles is happy with.
Yeah.
Because they're just doing it to get a bit of a pick back.
Yeah.
Is why they're doing it. So they would kind of, as a thank you to him because of what he's done for the organisation, they would do it. Yeah. At the minute, do you think that they would do a thank you to Antonio Brown?
No, I think they would do. We just want as much as we can get for you.
Get rid, yeah. So that makes your
pound them off. He's someone else's problem.
That makes your Buffalo thing very much in the mix. And would Brown like that or not? Oof, interesting.
There's a team with a need.
Well, true. He would be the guy. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So, wow, we've hit the hour mark already.
With what?
Yeah. That's why I looked at the thing. So, Andrew and I said, earlier on, what are we going to talk about? Oh, I don't really know. We've not got much. I was like, it might just be a short half hour or something. That's fine. And we've doubled that yet again. It's like, was it episode 16, I think, was Gavless in Seattle, where we lost Gav the last time. And it was like, it'll be a quick one. An hour and 32 minutes on the Skype call. It was like probably the longest episode we had. I was the common denominator. I still am. The longest episodes, House Wrath's in charge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway. Well, on that one, I suppose we better wrap things up then. And we'll look forward to... I don't know if it's actually going to be the next episode we have out, but we are scheduled to record on Wednesday with our first guest.
And so that's a new element into our show, and we are really excited. It will be our next episode out because it will.
Just decided, yes, we're going to put it out. So keep your ears peeled for 35. That's a nice round number for a bit of a step change as well. I like that.
35. It'll be our first episode as we move into the second year of the American Fitbaw Cast.
And check this out.
Yeah. So
on that note.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled on Twitter for maybe an announcement as to who that is. At the AF Cast. Find us at the American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook as well. And we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.